The fuck this counter G'day guys, welcome back to the Aussie Gooner channel, and yes, we are live. Me and my guy Akpos in the building. It's Gooner Talks Transfers, and guys, we're going to be talking about this, that, all of the above. But before we get into that, I've got to introduce my guy here, Akpos, bro. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, I'll say, and it's always good. It's always a thing of fun for me to always come here, go on the stream to talk about football, talk about Arsenal, and I'm excited about this one, and I'm looking forward to how we are going to dissect the topic on discussion today. So let's go. Big up the football capital, and I hope you guys should be ready for this weekend. That's going to be a firecracker.
To brace himself. He's going to have to brace himself. My guy Prime in the comments too is wondering how long it's going to take before I start talking Tielemans. You all know Tielemans is my man. This guy's the fucking $1 million man, but we're not going to get into Tielemans. We can't get into Tielemans. We get into Tielemans, we go down a path of fucking not Zaha. The chit-chat today, for me, is Zaha. And the reason why I look at Zaha is not because, first of all, everybody's out there talking about the Mudryk deal. Everybody out there talking about, you know, the Chelsea hijack. You know what I mean? The players we're missing, the Yao Felix that we should have had and didn't have, and all that crap, right? I don't want to sit here and chit-chat about things that I don't believe are going to actually happen. Now, to be honest, me and Akpos have always been talking back and forth on Insta, and we talked about the Mudryk deal and said, we don't see this happening. It doesn't look like something viable, guys. Now, Zaha, on the other hand, guys, Mr. Zaha himself, this guy, been doing bits at Crystal Palace. He's only got minutes left in his contract. You know what I mean, guys? Like, I'm talking fucking minutes. And to be perfectly honest, right, the guy himself is scoring goals at Crystal Palace for fun. He can play on the left. He can play down the middle of the park. And to be perfectly honest, I think to myself, this guy comes in. Akpos, this guy comes in. Could he not do a job off the bench? I don't know. You tell me, Akpos. Could he not do a job off the bench?
For me, I think it would do a perfect job, because I think that name, Wilfred Zaha, is one I've been screaming on the streams with you. You remember at start of the season when we were talking about players we could potentially bring in to strengthen the wings, and also strengthen the number 9 position. I mentioned the name Zaha on one of the streams with you. I think, if I remember clearly, Kanebi was talking about Trossard on that stream. So, but for me, Wilfred Zaha is a proven player for me, because I'm looking at what he has done in the last couple of years in the Premier League. Let's say in the team that he's playing for Crystal Palace. We remember that under Roy Hodgson, Crystal Palace is not one of the most offensive sides in the league in terms of the way they set up, in terms of the way they play. It's just recently under Patrick Vieira, we can see the transformation of their football. And if Wilfred Zaha was bringing in the goods, bringing in those kind of numbers in a team that's not very offensive, I'm excited personally what he could do in our team. I'm not looking at him as a player who will come into our team and try to dislodge Gabriel Martinelli or try to dislodge Saka with the way they are playing right now. But I'm looking at him as a player that, if he's going to come off the bench in 60 minutes, you as a defender, your Arsenal, they're going to be taking out Gabriel Martinelli or Bukayo Saka, and Wilfred Zaha as the player that is going to come in, I would be on my toes. I would feel like there would be no resting place for me. I could see something from the football capital there where it was saying 3 goals in the last 15 games. For me, I'm not looking at just 15 games. I have to look at what he has done in the last couple of seasons. Double-figure goals and goals contribution in terms of his assists and goals scored for the last couple of years. So I have to big him up. I have to give him credit for that. And a lot of people are looking at the fact that when he made the move to that Manchester United part of his career was not one that blows up for him. But I'm looking at him now as a player who has got more experience, who has got more knowledge under his belt, and a player who I think like is one of the key players in that Crystal Palace team, if not the very best player in that team. And I think like a move to Arsenal is going to be the biggest step it would make now in his career, and he would want to achieve something. I think he's at the right age, in my opinion. But also, I worry about the age and the kind of players that Arsenal are trying to bring in. They are looking not to bring in players that are above 30, and Zaha is within that age. So I look at that. That could be potentially a problem for that one. But during my chats with you, also, we've talked about bringing him for just 2 years.
Yep.
2 years to get the job done during that period. And I think Zaha will be efficient during that period. And realistically, for me, I think in all competitions, if he comes into the team in this January transfer window, I think getting double goals contribution in all competitions for Wilfred Zaha in this Arsenal team is achievable.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, his last 2 seasons at Crystal Palace was, he pulled in, his first season, 11 goals, his second season, 14, and climbing. This season so far, his total goals, 6 goals, 2 assists. And to be perfectly honest, most of those goals coming in from the left-hand side, from the wing, but also those goals coming from a central position. Now, a lot of guys are out there talking about, who do we have that can come off the bench and make an impact or change the game? Zaha is, what can I say, more of a, let's say, he's a dribbler. He's the kind of guy who likes to do short passing. He's quick. He's athletic, of course. He can hold his own. He is a bit of a nutter. I know he kind of loses it a bit. Reminds me of Ian Wright in the younger days, but that's a bit of passion. And I think to myself, to be able to take off, let's say, a Martinelli or even a Gabriel Jesus early, change the style and the dynamic of our game and bring in a Zaha who can play in the middle of the park and play on the left-hand side. It just gives you a different dynamic to our attack. Just like we have Kirintini and Zinchenko now fighting the left-back position, right? Yeah. We've got Wilfred Zaha who can come in and play. He can play across the whole front three, but I mean, of course, he's going to rather play on the left, being right-footed to cut in, or he's going to want to play down the middle of the park. Now, I can't see an issue with this. The only problem I see is exactly the point you made, Akpos. Because he's hit that 30-year-old, that 30 years of age mark. This is where we've got Edu, we've got Arteta going, he's not looking young anymore. He's not looking promising. But for me, I see it as right now, Arsenal can't go in, right, and find themselves an up-and-coming star, right, and spend 40, 50, 60 million in order for him to be on the bench and to maybe make an impact. I don't see that. And at the present time, it's a gamble to get anyone to come in who isn't proven, who's going to maybe make themselves a player, create a career with Arsenal, only for them to flop in the first season and possibly cost us a chance at the Premier League title. I think Premier League proven, a player who can come in, who's played in the league, much like Zaha, to come in and to finish off the gap and to try to fill in the gaps at Arsenal at the moment. Everyone talks about, we don't have another striker. It's Eddie Nketiah, right? He's not good enough. Well, Wilfred Zaha, not good enough? Maybe not good enough to start, but maybe good enough to come off the bench and make an impact. Maybe good enough to play in Europa League. Do you know what I'm saying? Isn't Wilfred Zaha an option to play down the middle of the park? Isn't Wilfred Zaha maybe more direct than what you'll find Emil Smith-Rowe? Because Emil Smith-Rowe, we saw in the latter stages of last season, he started to fumble. He started to slow down. His goals tally were dropping. He lost his position to Martinelli. So I look at Zaha from a few different angles. One, I think he's going to challenge maybe a little bit for the number 9 role, maybe. Yeah. But he can also play on the left. And look, Football Capital, I know what you're saying. How much for Zaha and will he leave in January? That's exactly what I was going to get into next. Right now, Patrick Vieira has been asked 12 times in regards to what is Zaha doing? And he's putting his hands up in the air. He's like saying, well, it's up to Zaha. Zaha's issue right now is he wants Champions League football. At the age of 30 years old, he knows that he's not really going to get many more chances than the present time. He's in half-decent form, and he's looking for a way out. Now, if Crystal Palace, right, allow his contract to go down to the wire, then they get nothing. But I think right now, from valuation that I've seen online, Wilfred Zaha's price tag is anywhere between, the lowest being about 17 million euro, which would be about 14 million pound, which I doubt very much, upwards to about 21 million euro. Now, I know that's a bit of an investment, but that allows me a little bit more money in the bank to be able to find myself a centre midfielder. And I mean,
Yeah, I talking about what Wilfred Zaha is going to be costing teams who would potentially want to get him away from Palace right now. I totally agree with you. I don't think like there is any better time in terms of the price to sign Wilfred Zaha from Palace right now, because he does not have much left on his current contract. Is older. He's a little bit at that age in his career where he's either he makes the move now or he remains in Palace for the next 2 years. So I think it's going to be a steal for me in terms of the price, because potentially if Wilfred Zaha makes the next move to any of the clubs who are top there playing in the European competitions and it's the ground running, I think it could be good for that 2 years period. And I look at the Wilfred Zaha move, and for me, I think personally, the way I look at it, I think it's going to be a very low risk move. You're not going to be paying a little bit over the board in terms of the valuation of the player, and with the fact that you offer him Champions League, a chance to win a trophy and all that, it wouldn't be asking for a salary that's going to be way too big that you can afford to pay. So I look at that one, and I still think that the way we are moving in our transfer business now, we seem like a club who are learning from our mistakes. I love the fact that we did not pay over our valuation for Mudryk,
yeah,
because
I love
that
that
brings
too.
us, that brings us to the Wilfred Zaha team, because we are still licking our wounds from paying that high amount for Nicolas Pepe, a young player who had so much potential coming from a different league, and that move failed to reach the potential that the people who actually scouted the player were expecting to reach. So for me, I look at our squad now. I think like we have enough potential. So I think like the moves we should be making now should be getting players who are proven already. We've seen what proven players could do to the overall lift in terms of quality in our squad. Bringing Gabriel Jesus and bringing Zinchenko into our team, we've seen the effect of what these guys who are already proven could do. I think like we have enough younger players in this team. Bukayo Saka is young. Gabriel Martinelli is young. Martin Odegaard is relatively young also. Fabio Vieira is young. Emmy Smith-Rowe is young. So I look at the team now, I think like we need the perfect blend between youth and experience right now. So I think like that's why personally I'm pushing for a player like Wilfred Zaha to come in. Come in. Now we are seeing how much these clubs are requesting for their wingers.
Yeah,
Bayern Leverkusen will be quoting a fee of 100 million euros. And
minimum.
Barcelona also will be quoting a fee of 100 million. So I think realistically, if we can't get our let's say our number one target, our number two target in this transfer window, getting Wilfred Zaha for a 2 years deal, I don't think it will be too expensive. While in the summer we can bring in that person we really want to
Exactly.
man the position for 2 to 3, 4, 5 years, in my opinion. So I look at Wilfred Zaha move. I look at it as a low risk move. I look at it like the player wouldn't have time to come into the league, let's say to struggle with the culture, the new country, and all of that. So I look at that one like one we could potentially achieve something from. And I don't look at him like somebody who will come into the team. I would not want to fight for his place, because we are seeing how there is the competition of places is in the team is making the team do so much better. You talked about Kieran Tierney and
Yeah.
Zinchenko in that left back row. We could see that both players will be pushing the other one for the starting shirt, and it's all good for the team. So if Wilfred Zaha comes in, I look at him like a player who would want to say, okay, Gabriel Martinelli, I'm coming for your spot, or Gabriel Jesus or Eddie Nketiah are coming for your spot. So that would be an exciting one for me to see.
That's what that's the idea when it comes to this transfer for Wilfred Zaha.
Mm.
Bit of experience, a bit of hunger, and something to prove in the later stages of his career. 2 years with possible added, maybe 2-year contract with an option for 3. For an extra 1 year. Why not? It wouldn't be a massive cost on Arsenal, and it would still allow a little bit of money in the or whatever is left in the kitty for a
Yeah.
midfielder, because right now we need one. Football Capital makes a comment here. Check this out. Can you buy him right now so he's not playing against us tomorrow? I love it. Do you guys a favor? Do you guys a favor? Here we go. No. We won't want to do that. Not yet. We need him to score a goal against you guys. And if he does, that's when we're going to snap him up. We're going to give him a bit of a boost in the paycheck, mate. Just if he scores against you guys. Strasbourg Steve in the building. What do we got? Another few guys I'd recommend for you guys. Enzo Lee from Lorient, center defensive mid, center mid. Look, I haven't seen him, to be honest. Honestly, again, another player I haven't seen. Marcus Thuram, I've seen. Yes. That's a good shout. That's a good shout.
Yeah,
but his contract situation, where is it? Like, are we going to be, are we talking 2-3 years? But I know Marcus Thuram. Look, good shout. It is a good shout. But me and Akpos here are talking about players that we want to see coming in from the Premier League and coming into the squad now. Because right now, Arsenal need reinforcements on that bench. We need players that we don't want to have to blend into this team only for 6-7 months for them to kick off and start doing bits. We kind of get it. We need him to start doing bits relatively early in the signing. Here we go. What do we got here? Sports Capital. Big up, lads. Who's this Aussie bloke? I don't know, mate. I don't know. He's taken over the Aussie Gooner channel and he's causing fucking havoc, guys. He's causing fucking havoc. Look, to be honest, I've looked at Wilfred Zaha and I've thought to myself for a few, like, since last season, I've looked at him from a distance and I thought to myself, you know what? He's not signing another contract at Palace. He's hungry. And when it comes to Crystal Palace, he's the one and only player that's dangerous. And I've always thought to myself, could he do a job at Arsenal? And I honestly believe that he will. It's only if Arsenal, Edu, and Arteta are going to decide that maybe in this case and this sort of late in the season, that they kind of put aside their agenda on the age and say, we need a player right now that can start doing bits. And I look at Zaha and I say to myself, that's a player that could possibly do it and would be cheaper than many other players that are out there, if you know what I mean.
Talking about the Zaha thing also. For me, I'm excited with the fact that he has got something to prove some doubters wrong, because some people are saying that he can't play in a big club. This is an opportunity for you, because I'm looking at Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko when they left from City. A lot of people call them the Manchester City rejects. So some people
and now they're begging for them.
And right now they are key figures in this Arsenal team. And some people have looked at Wilfred Zaha saying, okay, yes, you can do good in the smaller teams, but you can't do good in a big team. So I think like this is the time where he has got the experience. He has shown what he could do consistently in the last couple of years. Yeah. A move to a bigger team, potentially maybe an Arsenal, a Chelsea. I think like that move could do very well for him, because a chance to win trophy and a chance to prove the doubters wrong. So I look at him that it's not a player that's finished. It's a player that still have something left in the tank and would still want to give even younger players a run for their money in terms of who starts for the team.
You know, like I look at Zaha again and I think to myself, look, I don't see a lot of money behind him. I see a player who wants Champions League. Now, he has played for Manchester United, big club. And I think early days, he didn't perform well there. But after leaving, moving on, you know, starting off with Palace, sort of rejuvenating his career, eyes are on him. And the teams that are linked with him right now are Arsenal, Chelsea Football Club, because anyone that Arsenal is linked to, Chelsea is linked to now, right? So if me and the Football Capital, you know, do that deal on Jacob Maguire, maybe we'll get Harry Maguire sent over to Chelsea, eh? That'd be fun, hey? We'll link him to Arsenal and see if Bowley doesn't go for him. And the other team that I can see that looks viable is, and I'm hearing, is Barcelona. They're actually looking at him as well. Now, there are some Liga Earn teams that are looking at him, and like Monaco and that were looking as well. I've heard, you know, in the rumor mill. But to be honest, the three teams that he's got that he might have an option for are Arsenal, Chelsea, and possibly Barcelona. Now, I don't believe Chelsea as being an option for him unless, again, it's like maybe he's going to want to go over there and start a new project with Potter and Bowley. With the shambles that Chelsea are in at the moment, seriously, do you really want to go there? I'm worried. I mean, is it going to be because of money? You know what I mean? Would he go to Chelsea for money, really? Or does he want to come to Arsenal and start playing some sexy football?
That's going to be down to the player to decide where he really wants. If he wants more money, definitely the move to Chelsea is going to pay more. But if he really wants to go to a team that's thriving right now, a team that showing unity, a team that's trying to have an identity, I think like the team to go to right now for him should be Arsenal, because Arsenal right now looks more likely like a team that could potentially win something or achieve something this season compared to Chelsea. But we all know football, things can change real quickly. So we can't tell what's going to happen in a month or two. But that's the beauty of it. Only time can reveal all of these things. And hopefully we will see what choice is going to make, if it's going to make a move to one of the top teams or is going to sign a new contract extension with Crystal Palace.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Football Capital puts out Trossard, question mark. It's a good shout. I think Trossard is a good shout. And we have, like Football Capital, me and Akpos were talking about him just a minute ago on Insta. Trossard is a player that right now I think a lot of teams are looking at to potentially pick up from the Brighton, the what is it? The Brighton Munich that we like to call them. The only issue that I have there is the speculation, and it's pure. It's speculation. It's not 100% that the attitude is an issue. Now I know Zaha's also got an attitude problem, but look at him. He's apparently from Vieira. He's saying he's completely committed. He's playing his football, just not signing another contract. Whereas Trossard at the moment, he's fallen out with the manager, and we all know how Arteta is. Very much like the Brighton manager. You fall out with me, you fall off the bus. So I'm worried when it comes to this. Very worried that maybe he might be a bad egg. And we all know what happened to Aubameyang. See you later. And look what happened in the end. He's sitting on a bench at Chelsea only to be subbed on and subbed off. Hey, proud to be a Geordie's come in. And what do we got here? Thanks for big up yourself for jumping on, brother. Would Zaha, who's a starter at Palace, go to Arsenal to be a bench player, though, at his age? Well, I know where you're coming from on this. And Akpos, correct me if I'm wrong. By all means, jump in. Right now, the reason why Zaha apparently is not signing a contract at Crystal Palace is because he wants to play Champions League football.
I agree.
Now, any team that he goes to who's going to possibly be in the Champions League, Arsenal looking like they will probably be in the Champions League, cross fingers, are not going to start him. Manchester United, if they make Champions League, won't start him. Newcastle won't start him. Chelsea won't start him if they go into the Champions League, which they probably won't. Manchester City won't start him. So any English Premier League team are not going to start him in the Champions League in the league. They're going to have him on the bench. So wherever he leaves, when it comes to his move from Crystal Palace, because obviously he will, if it's for Champions League, he is going to have to fight for his position. So he either stays where he is or comes over to Arsenal and has a chance at possibly winning something this season. I don't know. What do you think, Akpos?
And yeah, and one angle to this thing for me, it depends on the player. Not every players are going to say, okay, I'm going to come in. I agree. I know that a starting shirt for me is not guaranteed. A starting place in the starting 11 for me is not guaranteed. I'm just going to come in and fold my hands and allow other players take the place ahead of me. So if it's a player that's willing to come in with that, knowing the reality that a starting place for him is not guaranteed, unlike Crystal Palace, but is ready to work his stocks off and is ready to fight for the place. That would be an interesting challenge for him to come in and give the other players a run for their money and see who the manager is going to pick to start the game at the end of the day. So if it's a player that is contented at where he is right now, I don't think he's going to make that next move. But if it's a player that's up for the challenge, up for the battle, okay, I'm going to come in and fight with whosoever is starting at this football club in this position or in that position, I think it's going to be an interesting move for him to make.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the next move he has to make, he is getting older. He wants to make it his last move, I think. Last shot for glory, if you know what I mean. What do we got? The sports capital. That name sounds familiar. The football capital.
It's
Football capital. What's this sports capital guy? Is he anything to do with you? I'm just wondering. It looks like he's ripped off your name, mate. How do you allow it? Anyway, I'll let it slide. I mean, you guys can deal that out between yourselves, mate. What the hell? Isn't Zaha too old for you guys? Now, yes, I understand. We were discussing that earlier, mate. Now, I understand that Zaha is 30 years old, but remember, at the moment, anyone we bring in January, we need him to do a job now. This is sort of the mentality that me and Akpos are in. We don't want to pick up a player who's eventually going to be a great player. He's a possible player. He's going to be magnificent. Mudryk is going to be the man. I don't know. And if he is, wonderful. But what if he isn't? He ends up being a Pepe. What do I do then? Exactly. And that's what the problem is here. And we need, everyone talks about depth off the bench. We don't have anything off the bench right now. And that's the reason why if Zaha comes in, it's not like, hey, you're guaranteed to sit on the bench forever. But we all know Arteta. It's the right man for the job. Whoever's scoring goals starts, and that's just the way it is. I mean, look what happened to ESR, Martinelli. Look what happened to Zinchenko and Tierney. You know what I mean? It's a fact at Arsenal. If you perform, you play.
Simple as that.
Yeah. I think that's his best. I mean, that's the best way I can sum up. Zaha has been at big clubs when he was at United.
Exactly, Ossie. This was the comment. Exact comments like this is what I was talking about when I said he has got something to prove wrong. So I don't think it's a player who's finished yet. You get so people like Monty who think like, okay, he has been at the big club before, it did not perform, it did not bring in any goods. Zaha could potentially make a move to a big club and prove all of the doubting Thomas is wrong. So I think like they still have something to prove. So the player is not finished, in my opinion.
I don't think. Look, honestly, I believe this very much the same. Like I said, 6 goals, 2 assists in a Crystal Palace team that isn't really good going forward. Seriously, not really good going forward. And to be perfectly honest, at the end of the day, with Arsenal, you know, our fluidity in play, especially in our transitions, I think it's going to suit him. You know, he's he's a quick player. He's a very quick player. He ain't no slouch. I know he's 30, but he ain't slow. Enzali is going to be a kid making a big move soon. At Lorient, he's impressed me and many others who watch Liga earn. Defo a guy to keep an eye on, in my opinion. Strasbourg Steve, big shout. I will definitely check him out, man. Cheers for jumping. Honestly, I will check him out. Proud to be a Geordie. Here we go. United was too soon for Zaha. That's a good shout. I mean, he's going into Manchester United at his age. That's a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? It's not like it's no pushover club back in the day. So at the moment, look at them. They're on the up. Who knows? It could be United and Arsenal finishing first, second this season. What do we got here? We got one more here. What do we got here? Zaha could go to Arsenal and win the league. Ooh, Akpos. What do you think?
Why not? Why not, in my opinion? Because if he's up for the challenge, I would if I'm Wilfred Zaha and I'm up for the challenge, I would want to look at what the team is doing now and contribute to it. And give my all to achieve something. So I think like we are seeing that the league is there for the taking for any team that is serious right now. We know nobody has won the league yet. There's still a lot more football to be played, but we can see that no team is looking like they are invincible. If you put up a good performance, you could beat some of the top teams this season. We are seeing it. I think like the only team that's the only 2 teams, in my opinion, that look high flying right now, it's Arsenal and Manchester United. So it will be interesting to see which team eventually wins the league this season. But I think if I'm Wilfred Zaha and I look at the Arsenal team, look at what these young lads are doing, there's an opportunity to even contribute to it and achieve something and write your name in good potentially.
Yeah, coming to the end of his career, you know, I mean, just before the curtain closes, you've got an opportunity to make a stand and possibly, you know, Premier League trophy, you never know. You know, a cup, maybe Europa League. You never know. You never know. Big up, Geordie. Big up. What do we got here? I'll send in the lawyers. Here we go. Moyes didn't play Zaha, and I think we know why. Come on, mate. Come on. And what's going to happen to Moyes? Here we go. What do we feel like? Danny Ings might be an all right shout for Arsenal. I heard Aston Villa will allow him to leave on loan. It's a fact if you give him.
Is Danny Ings fit for most of the time?
And I was just about to say that. You're spot on. Ings, unfortunately, I don't think Arsenal or any team right now needs a player that could possibly pick up an injury and have them out for the whole season. Our problem right now is our starting 11 are, we do have a few players on the starting 11 that are injury prone in Thomas Partey. And of course, now we've got Gabriel Jesus. And now we worry, both me and Akpos worry about what happens if we lose a winger? And that's exactly the point. What happens if we lose a winger? We've got ESR who's just hobbling back into the squad. You know what I mean, Akpos? Just coming back now. So we can't expect much. Fabio Vieira can play the right wing, but he weighs as much as his bottle. So that worries me. So I don't know. I think to be perfectly honest, right? Right now, I don't know. I think Zaha could be a good move. I know he was banging his daughter, for God's sake. I'm just saying, where's Moisey now? I know. You saying that he's going to be attacking Arteta's misses now? Is that what you're trying to say? Tell me, Football Capital. Are you saying Wilfred Zaha is going to have eyes for the captain? Captain, our current manager's misses or something? I know, mate. I know. And anyway, just wondering, was she a good sort? Was she a good sort? Never know. What do we got here? Zaha's proven reliable. Vieira gets in his ear. What I think about Zaha could be perfect. You know, this is why me and Akpos are thinking about Zaha. I know it's a tight ass approach. And I know, like, football capitals want to think that it's a bit cheap. It is, but we're Arsenal Football Club, and we're not renowned for spending a lot of money in January.
Exactly.
You know, and we need more than just Zaha. We need a lot more than just Zaha at the moment. I think everyone knows. Everyone in the chat knows that if Arsenal lose Thomas Partey, right, it's really going to be difficult for us to keep up this pace. And if we don't go on. Sorry.
And to add to what you're saying, also the only game we've lost this season, Thomas, the only game we've lost this season, Thomas Partey did not play in a game.
Exactly, and look at the difference. Look at the difference. Look at the difference it made. Don't get me wrong. Unfortunately, we made some tactical errors there as well.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, fucking a lot of tactical errors. We really got caught out. But Thomas Partey wasn't there, and we were a shambles. The player who came into his position, what happened? Lokonga, what happened? It was horrible. It would have been better playing with just 10 men. You know what I mean? So that's why we look at Zaha, me and Akpos, because we say, now we pick up a player like this. In my opinion, I think Arsenal will probably spend about 17, maybe 17, maybe 16 or 18 million pound between in that range. It wouldn't be in the 20s. Now, I know it's a cheap buy, but it's a bargain for now. And then it's a band-aid solution up until we can try and find a centre midfielder to cover for Partey. And that's sort of the approach me and Akpos are taking, guys.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, you're right about Ings, mate. With the injuries, it's kind of messed up his career. You're spot on,
True.
Akpos.
True.
It's true.
True.
It's true.
True.
You lost to McFred. We did. We did.
Yeah, we did.
Facts.
We are not going to make excuses for that. We did. Kudos to you.
We lost to McFred, right? So you can see how shambolic we are without fucking Thomas Partey. McFred was looking phenomenal. You know what I mean? Come on, man. We can't have this again, Football Capital. And that's why the right wing, the striker's role, we got Eddie Nketiah up front, who many people are saying is not good enough, right? We have many content creators saying, oh, but we want a player that comes off the bench that brings something different. No, we don't have that. And that's why Zaha looks like a kind of player who's a little bit different from the average player that we have apart from the age.
You don't know.
Here we go. Proud to be a Geordie. You don't need that massive money statement signing. Now you needs is just a few extras to close out the league. Facts. Facts. That's exactly what we're trying to do. The Mudryk deal that was going on, Akpos, you remember me and you were both talking like this doesn't make any sense. None of it makes sense.
And you know something about the Mudryk deal? I think like Mikel Arteta and Gaspar Edu were so wise not to give Shakhtar what they were asking for, because that deal was one that could potentially cause a rift in our dressing room. If Mudryk comes in for that amount of fee and gets paid so much money, if I'm Gabriel Martinelli, I'm Bukayo Saka, I'm Saliba, I'm looking up my shoulders like, come on, this guy is coming from Ukraine. How many league games has he got under his belt? And what have I done in the last 2 seasons, in 1 season? And I'm asking for even way more than they're going to be paying him. So I think like the club has a unity now. There's how would I say, they're not overpaying some of those players. The wage structure is in check and all. So a crazy move. That's why I agree totally with this comment from Proud to be a Geordie. A crazy move now might just come in, and all of the hard work you've been doing, clearing out some of the so-called dead woods and getting to where you are now, a crazy money move can just come in and disrupt all of the harmony you have, all of that progress you've made in the project. So I think like we're not there yet to make those kind of moves. We need to bring in quality players, but find a way for getting these players in through the door. Why not paying crazy money right now?
We don't want to create a rift. We don't want to have the haves and the have-nots. We want it to be performance-based. We want all our players to be paid towards their potential and what they're doing at the present time. And I think, a Mudryk coming in, he's done nothing in the Premier League. He's not proven. He could be a great player. but it would be a luxury signing. It would be. And me and Football Capital, we were chatting about this. It would be a bloody luxury signing. And at the moment, Arsenal are not in a position for a luxury signing. We're not. Not this transfer window. Not January. This is not a Bamiyang settings. Yeah.
Not this one.
Would you take, would you take Rice? We talking Declan Rice? Dude, how much would you pay for Declan?
Do we have 80 to 150 million to pay for Rice?
Dude, that's massive money. Look, yeah, Rice is great, but what am I going to do with him? No, so that means I'd have to put Xhaka on the bench, put Declan Rice next to Thomas Partey. Right now, you're going to hate me to say this. No, I wouldn't. Not with the way Xhaka is performing within this team, because Declan Rice is not going to be a bench boy. I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't. I've got a performing player in Granit Xhaka. As much as I don't like Granit Xhaka, I don't know if you agree, Akpos.
I totally agree. If it's not spoiled, why do you have to fix it?
That's the exact approach that I've got. If we've got a team that's working at the moment, the starting 11 right now, why change it mid-season only to damage the harmony? You know what I mean? Only to take away the role that we're on. You know, you look at the togetherness every time we win a game. For God's sake, before we start a game, when we score a goal, the team is a unit. And Man United, like I'm pretty sure Football Capital knows it, his team is showing the same sort of togetherness, and they are getting the same kind of result. And this is why, even at Man United, you wouldn't want to make a silly signing right now.
And that's what they are also, like you said, they are trying to do. Also keep their wage bill right now in check. We've seen the news coming out on the news. So I totally agree with that comment saying that Arsenal does not have the potential for a crazy money signing right now. Not yet. And I also agree with this one because it looks like Chelsea are going to pay crazy money in terms of the salary, in terms of the sign-on fee. And we all know that in recent times, we've seen that the player has got some kind of likeness to Chelsea and all. So, but if it's going to be crazy money, I would not want us to be in the business for Declan Rice. But if it's going to be something that's going to be within our financial power, okay, I will take him then.
You know, Chelsea surprised me just a little bit, and I'll jump on. Like, the amount of money they're spending, guys in the chat, tell me one thing right now. You know, financial fair play, does that exist for Chelsea Football Club?
It does not exist, in my opinion.
I swear. How much have they spent? Guys, let me know in the chat. How much money has Chelsea Football Club spent right now? You know, right up to the Mudryk deal, what have they spent so far? And if they were to grab Declan Rice, like, would that not, you know, would not a lot of people be looking going, wait a minute, boop, boop, how much money have you guys spent? Because it's starting to look a little bit crazy. You know what I mean? Jefferson Lerma at Bournemouth would be a decent backup for Partey. Might sound silly at first, but I'm a fan of the guy. It's a fair shout. It's a fair shout. It's El Neni-esque though, a little bit El Neni-esque when I look at it. I would rather, when it comes to the middle of the park, I think the backup for me in the middle of the park is probably more important than the backup in the left and right wing and the striker's role. I'm lucky that I've got a Trossard and a Zaha that are sort of available right now. In the middle of the park, we all know who I want. I mean, the only person I want in the middle of the park is my man Yuri Tielemans. Oh, here we go. Rice has been linked with Arsenal, but if Partey is out, who will come in? Akpos. You tell me.
That's the big problem, because for me, Sambi Lokonga is one player that I've backed a lot of times, and I'm still backing him because I think like the player has got the potential. But we all know that in terms of player development, if the player is not playing, the development would not be as fast as you would expect. So it needs game time. If he cannot get game time right now on this team, I think a loan deal will be ideal for the player's development. But I think we can only let him go on loan when we bring in a replacement, when we bring in somebody that would provide enough cover. But what I'm saying right now, if there's no Thomas Partey in our starting 11, I would want more Elneny to come in place of Thomas Partey, because I think like looking at what we have at our disposal right now, Elneny is above Sambi Lokonga in my picking order.
I think so too. I know that sounds horrible, but I've watched Elneny. He's not phenomenal, but he can get a job done.
Get the job done.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Defensively, not too bad. He can kind of move the ball around. He's half decent. He's aware. And he's got an engine. Usually plays 90, 95 minutes without a problem.
Mhm.
Maybe you could loan Sammy Lokonga to Bournemouth and buy Jefferson Lerma. Strasbourg Steve. Everyone's stuck on Jefferson Lerma. You know what? Samby needs time, and I don't know. It could be a good shout.
Yes.
Could be a good shout, but it's desperate times, desperate measures. Yeah, Chelsea are getting around FFP due to the long-term contracts.
Exactly, that's the way they're doing it.
It's all 8 years, and Football Capital mentioned the exact same thing. Like, I mean, to be honest, 8-year contracts for players. Wow, I don't know. You know, like imagine 8 years and the player's a flop, and you're stuck with him for 8 years. You know what I mean? Like, remember when Alexis Sanchez went to Man United? He left Arsenal, was great, went to Man United and failed, right? Imagine him being on an 8-year contract. Imagine how hard it would have been to get rid of him.
And you know what? All of the crazy money signings in the Premier League in the recent times, none of them have worked out. Jack Grealish, 100 million. Romelu Lukaku, 97.5. Paul Pogba, 93.25 mil. Lukaku, 90 million. Mudryk, 88. Anthony, 86. Not one of them have lived up to the hype, but let's wait and see what Mikhailo Mudryk can do. And I mean, also Anthony, what Anthony can do also.
I think there's a player in Anthony. I know he's struggling right now, but what I saw against us, there's a player in Anthony, mate. There is a player there. I think it's just going to take time to just brush away the excess. I think there's a player there. When he came on and he scored that goal. I was like, wow, this guy's got fucking moves. I know he's struggled so far, but you never know. I mean, Pepe did struggle as well. You never know. He's a good shout here. Maybe you could do the same with Ndidi at Leicester. Now, I like this shout, Ndidi. Ndidi's a half decent player. That would be a good shout. But that would be Ndidi having to fight for his position at Arsenal. Does he want to do that? He's got starting line at Leicester. I don't know. I mean, if we can pull that deal off, I'd be fucking happy having Ndidi and Partey. Shit.
You know, I would love that one being a Nigerian, but I think the problem that Arsenal would have with that deal is the fact that when the AFCON comes, Thomas Partey is going, Wilfred Ndidi is going. You're going to be losing your potential starter and your backup for him. So I don't know how they would want to have two players who would go in the middle of the season to play the African Cup of Nations. So, but I don't know. But Wilfred Ndidi for me I would have loved that signing.
Yeah, I mean, I think to be perfectly honest, it would be a good signing. I don't know, but the thing is, it's the cost and it's the role he wants to play. He knows if he comes into this squad, it's going to be like, well, I'm playing second fiddle to Partey, and you know how it is behind closed doors. It ain't FIFA settings. We can't just get anyone we want. It'd be great. It'd be fucking phenomenal, but we just can't go out there and buy every single fucking player. For me, Jefferson Lerma is an upgrade on Anelian Lokonga. Don't forget, he's a Colombian international. Yeah, but you know, like I think the move I want, the upgrade I want on Elneny, I want it to be significant, only because of the role that Partey plays in our squad. I want it to be not on par, but very close. And I don't mind. And in my mind, I don't mind it to be of a player who's a little bit older. You know what I mean? Football Capital says Anthony 6 goals this season. Yes, I'm impressed. I am. I just look at some of the news reports here and there, and to be honest, you see him here, you see him there. I don't know. I think, to be honest, Football Capital, do you see Anthony starting against us against Arsenal? Yes or no? Anthony's a Brazilian fidget spinner. Yeah, he does that stupid thing that he spins around, but look, you got to give him credit. Like the Football Capital said, he scored some fucking goals, and he scored a fucking great one against us. But hey, what do you do? End of the day, they paid big money for him. They've got him through the door. Let's see if it works out for Man United.
Let's see.
Just like how Newcastle, just like how at Newcastle, we need an upgrade on Lasisia at centre back. So I'd take Sionsu. Sionsu, yeah, no, I don't know. I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't go there. I know you need an upgrade, but I wouldn't go there. Last one. What do we got here, guys? Can see Leicester losing a few COVID hit their owners hard in their skin. Look, I can see. Look, to be honest, at Leicester now, real quick, though, what James Maddison, Yuri Tielemans, Castagna. Who else would you rate? Castagna. Those are the only ones apart from what's been mentioned. Jamie Vardy's finished. Those are the only players I think they've got left. And to be honest, for Arsenal, I honestly want Yuri Tielemans to come to Arsenal. What can I say? I don't
Me
know.
too.
I don't know. I don't know. Akpos, are you
Me-
a supporter of Tielemans, or is he not the guy for you?
if we get your Telemans in this transfer window and bring in that winger, I would be very excited. I would be confident that yes, would have. I would think like the potential for us to win the Premier League title would be so much more if we can get Yuri Telemans in this window and that winger.
Thing is, the cost for Yuri Tielemans. That's the other thing. The kind of money we'd have to spend on him, that worries me. Because I think it's going to be at least 20 million. I think he'll still want 20 million. Because if they lose him now, it's all over.
I'm looking at it. If we are willing to pay that much for Mudryk, if we had that much money and offer for Mudryk, then I think we could buy going for Yuri Tielemans, a player who's an international already, who was playing in the high level, in the top level in the last couple of years, has won something with Leicester City also. So for me, Yuri Tielemans comes in, and we could also play him in different positions in that midfield area. So I think like that's a player who could also add some more goals to our team because is good at shooting out from outside the box. So I look at that one, and I think like Yuri Tielemans for me is a business that I think we've waited too long for. We need to get that one done. We need to get it done as soon as possible.
I think Yuri Tielemans at Arsenal would be a perfect fit for us. For him, yes, on and off, he could be. He'd be maybe. I know he plays on the right hand side of the midfield pairing. Can he do a role? Can he play Partey's role? No. But would you rather have Yuri Tielemans and Granit Xhaka side by side, or Granit Xhaka and fucking El Neni side by side? Guys, in the comments, let us know. Let's be honest. Or Sambi Lokonga. Yeah, got to get some of that. What do we got here? Strasbourg Steve. You must be a massive fan of Napoli. And as a Nigerian, he's one of my favorite players to watch. What do you reckon, that's for you?
For me right now, I think Victor Osimhen is one of the best number 9s right now. I know you, Steve, you watched the Serie A games. If you watch what he did to the Juventus defenders, they were scared of him. They were scared of him in that game. And currently sits at the top of the Serie A goal shout with 12 goals in about 14 games. He got injured this season, so we should not forget that. I think like it's going to take crazy money for him to move. And we should not forget that Napoli also spent a lot of money when he moved from Lille to the Italian league. So it's going to be the way I'm looking at the way Victor Osimhen is playing right now. If he wins the Scudetto this season, wins the top the Golden Boot in Italy this season, I think is going to be one of the hottest names in the summer transfer window by the end of the season.
How old is he now?
He's in his 20s. In his 20s, I have to confirm. I have to check.
Because I mean, at the moment with the present form that you're telling me he's in, if Mudryk is going for fucking, see, this Mudryk deal has inflated everyone. I think honestly, I think everyone's
it's 24 now. 24.
24, so he's in his prime. He's getting close to his prime. This is his next move is going to have to be a big move, I guess.
And massive money. Are we ready to pay that kind of money?
I don't think we will. It's Arsenal Football Club. We all know we won't. We all know we won't. Warren's team talk. Welcome.
And we also know that Napoli are not an easy side to negotiate with. So if it's going to move, it's going to be on their terms.
Exactly. All Italian teams, they know how to deal. They know how to make their money. They know what they're doing. They're not silly. They're money makers. They're great at that. Warren's team talk. Hi lads. Problem we have is that any players we go for any players we go in for now, going to have €100 million price tag. Well, Warren, the thing is, any player that you're going to go for with $100 million price tag is a player that's going to have to start. Do you understand? And this is now, I'm going to go a little bit off track here. But when we're looking at players, right, and we're looking at players for Arsenal Football Club right now, we're not looking for players in the starting 11. Akpos, please jump in, correct me if I'm wrong.
I know.
I believe.
I don't think I think right now we have a perfect, in my opinion, a near perfect. I wouldn't say just perfect though. A 9 out of 10 starting 11 right now. The problem we have is the drop off in quality when someone gets off from that starting 11. If it's not in the left back position, the replacement is not like for like. If it's not in the left back or the right back position, I don't think the replacement in terms of quality is like for like. There's a massive drop off in terms of the player who come in other positions. That's where we need other players to come in. So when we have a player going out and another player coming in, the quality does not drop off massively. So I totally agree with you that we're not bringing in players who want to work into the first 11, but I still think we should bring in players who have the will, who want to fight to get into that 11, not players who are comfortable to say, okay, I want to sit on the bench. I'm not coming to start. No, I think we should bring in players who have the mentality of, okay, I know I'm coming to start. The starting shirt is not guaranteed for me, but I want to fight for my place in this team.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's why looking for players with that price tag, Warren, it doesn't make sense. I've heard people talking about the silliness. Oh, we should get Ivan Toney. What are we going to do with him? We can't do anything with Ivan Toney now. We've that ship has sailed since we bought Jesus. We're not going to get these kind of players. We're not. Harvey Barnes at Leicester is all right. Needs some development. Yeah, good shout. Good shout. Yeah, good shout. Here we go. Like football's version of Kobe and Shaq. Yeah. Yeah.
That pair, they are currently busting the Italian Serie A right now. Their goal contribution is massive right now between the two of them, and their link-up play, their understanding. I think this season the Scudetto is Napoli's to lose.
Honestly, if they don't get it, you know what will probably happen? They'll win it this season and just sell players left, right, and center, and then on the cheap buy players, blah blah blah. But you know how Italian teams are. If they can see $1 in it, they'll sell here and buy there. But they buy smart. You know what I mean? They recruit well. Arsenal haven't recruited well for years. I mean, now, yeah, somewhat, but some of the players that you see coming out in other leagues, other teams, like even like Ajax and all that, they recruit well. Their recruitment is fucking phenomenal, and they make their money like that. I think Benfica is very good at that as well. Arsenal, on the other hand, haven't been the best. It's always been paying above the board when it comes to a player. What do you do? Warren says, I have not been impressed with Tielemans for the last year or so. I would rather look at other options in the EPL. Not sure who, but I am concerned about Tielemans. Well, don't be concerned because this guy's cracking goals from outside the box. He's assisting goals. He's playing in a Leicester team that's falling apart. Trust me, I have watched this guy, Warren, from end to end. He is a complete player. Your opinion is your opinion, buddy. This is a good question, Football Capital. I love this question. What positions do you think Arsenal need this window? Look at this. I know what he's doing with this to win the league. I know what you're trying to do, darling. I know what you're trying to do. Now, we'll just forget about the win the league part. But, right, we're not going to go there. I know what you're trying to do. It's called entrapment. But what positions do you think? Akpos, you tell me what you think.
I think our ideas on the positions are very similar, I'll see. For me, I think we need to bring in that cover for Thomas Partey. I've been screaming it since the start of the season. We need to bring in that cover for Thomas Partey because Thomas Partey is very integral to how we play. I look at the way we set up, and Thomas Partey for me is the backbone of this system. So if Thomas Partey goes off, and any other player is coming into the team right now, and we have a big game the next day, I'm worried. But if I see Thomas Partey in that starting 11, I'm confident. So I think we need to bring in a player that when Thomas Partey is not playing, as that player is going to play in place of Thomas Partey, I'm going to be confident. So I think like that replacement for Thomas Partey is up there for me in terms of what we need to bring in, and also what that offensive player that will come in and reduce some of the burdens from the starters we currently have in that team, because we don't expect those players to play all of the games. We're still in the FA Cup, we're still in the Europa League, and the Europa League for me, it's a competition I think like we need to go all out to win. So I think we need to bring in one more offensive player, and that's defensive midfield cover for Thomas Partey. For me, if we have those two players coming into the window as an Arsenal fan, I'm going to be very excited for what is going to happen for the rest of the season. I'm not saying we're going to win the league, But I will be confident that yes, we've got a chance if we can bring in those two signings.
See, I couldn't agree with you more, because everyone knows the gaps. I know the gaps. You know the gaps. And we know that the middle of the park is a big deal for Arsenal. When we didn't have a decent midfield, we're like a pub toilet door, and it was just coming through. Everyone was going through us. Now it's very difficult to break Arsenal down, and our midfield going forward is very fluent. So just like you said, Thomas Partey is key to this as being that anchor. We don't have a cover for him. The whole thing falls apart. And that's a fact. So that's why I agree with you completely that we do need a centre midfielder, a midfielder that can cover for Partey, and we do need a winger who can play across the front three. It would be great for him to be able to play the number 9 role, but that's why Wilfred Zaha today is out. We're chatting Wilfred Zaha because this is the kind of player who can play on the left, he can play in the middle of the park, and he's looking like he could be a cheap buy because we are Arsenal and we're looking for a bargain, guys. A bargain. It's all about it's Arsenal Football Club. We don't like to spend, right? And we know that. Akpos knows that. I know that. We're very stingy with our money. That's just a fact. Warren says, I don't think we're going to sign anyone in this window. And you know what? If we don't, I will not be surprised. And no Arsenal fan will be surprised right now if we do not sign anyone in this window. We won't be. We are hoping that we will sign someone, but I don't think we will. I don't know, Akpos, do you agree with him? Are you hopeful we'll sign, or are you thinking this is not going to happen?
Well, I'm hoping they will sign, but if, like you said, if it does not happen, I'm not going to be surprised. Because what the guys that are in charge in the football club right now are saying and what they're doing and what we could see is that they just don't want to go out there and sign a player for the sake of signing. They want to bring in only players who they think can play in the system, only players who they think can improve the squad. So if there is no player out there in their scouting system that meets all of their metrics in terms of what they're looking for, why just go out there and sign a player that you would not utilize, that would not be efficient for you? So I think at the end of the day, they know what they're looking for, and I'm trusting them to get the job done because they get paid so much money. And from what they have shown in the last transfer window, it's working out for them so far, so good. So I want to continue to trust them to do what's best for the football club at the end of the day.
Look, end of the day, we are top of the league for the reason that our squad is gelling well. The players are all performing. Look, right now, this squad, everybody has scored a goal except for Ben White and Aaron Ramsdale in the starting 11. And that doesn't just happen. That's not just a fluke. No. That comes from, don't get me wrong, it's training, it's pushing your limits. It's a whole bunch of different aspects. But right now, I think this squad is looking good. Now, Warren makes another comment here, and he's saying, look, the drop-off in the squad when starting 11 don't start is shocking given the amount of money that has been spent. And that's true. That is true. I've seen it that when we've played Europa League games, you're spot on that the drop-off is it's obvious to see. It is. The money that's been spent, yes, it's pretty big. But the squad that we had, I mean, let's be honest, the squad that Mikel Arteta started with, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong, Mikel Arteta started with a squad, right, that Arsene Wenger, would have a fucking heart attack to rebuild. Now, Arsene Wenger, when he came to Arsenal, he came in, he had a back four that was solid, probably one of the best back fours that you would have in the league, the best goalkeeper in the league in David Seaman, and he came in with Dennis Bergkamp. Now, that's 6 players that he already had ready to rumble. Mikel Arteta, he didn't have one. Barely had one. And don't forget, he was a novice. But you are right. The amount of money that was spent, you would expect more. But we have to say one thing. This guy was a novice and he was learning his trade and he's made his mistakes. But right now, at this present time, I think Akpos will agree that he's proving me and every Arsenal fan wrong that he's actually starting to get a tune out of the players that he's got.
Exactly.
I'm going to go through a few more of these comments. Napoli gets goals from everywhere too. I see them winning the Scudetto. Yeah, true. Warren's got, we need 2 CMs, we need a striker, 2 CMs, a centre back.
Warren, we know this is not going to happen. We know this is not in January. Warren, we know. Let's be realistic.
This is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We need 2 centre midfielders, 2 centre backs, a striker. Let's go buy a whole starting 11. We are not Manchester City where our starting 11 and our backup 11 are almost as good as each other. If that's what we're trying to build here, then it's never going to happen. That wasn't the case at Liverpool. That isn't the case at even Manchester United. It isn't the case at Newcastle. And it won't be the case at Arsenal. We just don't have the money. The owners are not going to spend that kind of money. It's just not going to happen. And the centre-back situation we've got, Takahiro Tomiyasu plays right centre-back. He plays right back for us, but he's actually a right centre-back, so he can fit in there. I know Rob Holding isn't the best centre-back, but that's all we've got right now. Do you get what I'm saying? And right now, the centre-back position isn't the biggest deal. One centre midfielder in reality would be good, and one winger or striker would be great too. It's realistic because we all know the Cronkies won't spend more. They won't spend a cent, even if this guy's his boy. We got to answer Football Capital's question. Yes, we covered that. Warren's team talk, and what do we got here? Warren, agree with you, mate. If Salabet and Gabriel get injured, that means Holding players, and that's horrible drop off in quality. That's right. But it's a lot of if, buts, and maybes, Steve. And to be honest, let me tell you something. Any team that loses both centre-backs, find me any team right now in the Premier League that loses both centre-backs, which two centre-backs are going to come off the bench and do the same thing as their starting centre-backs, apart from Manchester City? Which two centre-backs come off the bench, right, that are sitting on the bench right now, come in, slot into those centre-back roles, right, and actually do the same work that the starting centre-backs could do? Tell me what those teams are, apart from Man City. Who got torn apart by Man United because their centre-backs couldn't defend. Anyway, I'm sorry.
And even to add to what you said, against Southampton in the Carabao Cup, Man City were found wanting when their first choice centre-backs were not starting that game.
Exactly. Because their first choice centre-backs are key. They are the best. They're not going to have the same quality on the bench. It's impossible. The backups in the squad are not good enough. We need quality backups for Partey, quality backup for replacement for Granit Xhaka, backup for Martin Odegaard. Backup for Martin Odegaard's supposed to be our boy Fabio Vieira. We've already that ship has sailed. Partey, like I said, it would be good to get a Yuri Tielemans who could play either end. He's not as good as Partey. Yeah. Yes, he's not a defensive midfielder, but he could cover for Granit Xhaka. We are not. Look, let me tell you, Warren, I love you. Let's be honest. We can sit here and whinge and moan about we need all these players or the world is going to come to an end. Are we top of the league right now? How many games have we lost? How many have we drawn? Do you see it coming to the end of the season? No. But what were your predictions for this season for Arsenal? Tell me that. Where did you want to finish? Where was your minimum? I bet both me and you can agree neither one of us thought we'd be going for the league. Football Capital, much love, my guy. This guy's family. I'm off, lads. Good night, Steve. Good night, Akpos. We're going to wrap this one up soon, guys. I'm just going to go through a few more comments. Strasbourg, Steve, I suggested guys like Lerma, Welbeck, Ings for Arsenal since you guys go for cheap signings in January. Hey, look, Welbeck's doing bits, man. You saw what he did to Joe Gomez, man. That kind of stuff. That shit doesn't just happen. That's skills. I'll just go through this real quick. Backup centre backs are not good enough. Okay, I got that one. I'm sorry, Warren. Actually live. Yeah, man. First time, bro. First time. Set up your team. I'm back up. Here we go. I know it's not going to happen, but it's definitely what we need. Facts. And that is on the owners. That's right. I understand. But it's not going to happen. That's why I don't like I would love my owners to be much like the City owners, eh? And I think we all would. But it won't happen. So that's why we can only be realistic. That's why we need this. Yeah, but we can't build a squad like Manchester City, guys. We can't. It will never happen. It'll never happen. Chelsea OG, big up, guys. You think Partey will be fit all season? Look, he has to come in with that. Oh, God. Akpos, I'm hoping we will. I'm hoping he will. And guys, look, to be honest, guys, I'm going to end this stream here. Look, guys, tell me what you think. We've got our ideas on Wilfred Zaha as a possible right wing or a striker who can come in for Arsenal right now and do some bits. We've talked about a few different things, don't get me wrong. But we believe that Wilfred Zaha won't be too expensive. And Wilfred Zaha, right, could fit into the Arsenal squad, not only maybe for 2 years, but could do bits off the bench and maybe start. Tell us what you think. We need to know this. And I want to big up a few channels. My guy Akpos right now has got himself a channel, right? And he has to plug it. Akpos, plug your channel. Please plug your channel. You can always find me on the Football Talk Shop. I have some
premium football content plan coming on there soon. And also you can find me, if you are West African and you can speak Pidgin, you can find me on Football and Pidgin across all the different social media.
That's awesome. And look, you got to jump onto his channel. This guy obviously knows his football, knows what he's talking about, doesn't chat shit, and he's not a dreamer. You know, we don't want to sit there and say we're going to go and fucking get Mbappe, right? And guys, look, the channels that you'll find me on, the Football Capital, right? Big up the Football Capital. If you haven't gone there, subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel. Me and Borche do some stupid shit on that channel, right? It's all shits and giggles. Warren's Team Talk. Trust me, Warren is a great guy. If you don't subscribe to his channel, you got something wrong with you. He's all fun. Chelsea OG, my guy. Please subscribe to this guy's channel. Strasbourg Steve, he's got his channel. This guy here, this guy, Strasbourg Steve, is a fucking nut. An absolute football nut. He doesn't sleep. This guy eats TVs. That's what he does. This guy is watching football 24 hours a day. Trust me, you got to check out Strasbourg Steve.
Big up, Steve. Big up.
Big up. And guys, look, to be honest, I really appreciate you guys coming in here for the first live show on the Aussie Gooner channel. But from me, from Akpos, from everyone in Australia and Nigeria, yeah, it's Uru, guys. It's Uru.